Once again, Tate and company returned to the vast and rugged area of Bluff Creek to research the mystery known as Bigfoot or Sasquatch, the very same subject that put this remote spot on the map so many years ago. Join us as we take you on a nostalgic ride to an era in Bluff Creek when film was grainy and the wilderness was vast. To start off our journey, we pay a visit with Thomas Steenburg as he ventures back to Bluff Creek from his last visit in 2003. Before that, 1983. Now he's returned to the area, which is considered a hotbed for Sasquatch activity.
Where are we headed to, Brent?
We are headed to Bluff Creek film site, the PG Patterson film where, the Patty, strutted our stuff. We're going to go strut our stuff in the same pathway and check it out, bringing Thomas Steenburg back here for the first time in 22 years. 22 years.
When was the last time you were here, Thomas?
2003.
Okay, 2003, and then you're also here...
1983.
1983. 1983 was with Renee DeHinden.
Correct.
And then 2003 was with Bob Gimlin, right?
Right, we brought him down, yeah. And that was the first time he had been back since the day of the filming.
Walking with history here, man.
Yeah, man.
That's what we're doing.
What do you think of being back here?
I love it. I always wanted to come back. I always did. Yeah. But I'm disappointed my little tin is no longer in the tree, but I didn't really expect it to be. Well, when I was here in 1983, most of these trees that have grown up, they were only like 3 or 4 feet high. And all that, the ferns and stuff filled the area. It was a real tiger jungle. And I was worried we were going to lose perspective where everything was, so I decided to mark the big tree, at least people would be able to find it. So I took a tin from what I believe was one of Rennie DeHinden's old tobacco cans, and I scratched TS in it, and I found an old carpentry nail that was even rusted then. It was only like this big, and I hammered it into the tree just to mark it. And, well, it's gone. Who knows why? Rain, sleet, snow, woodpeckers, who knows. 2003 was even worse than it is now. I mean, it was all these trees right here, almost as big, and it was an absolute tiger jungle, filled with ferns and stuff and crap and deadfall, and it was barely, you couldn't recognize it. We brought Bob Gimlin down in 2003, and it was his first time back since that day in '67, and he did not recognize the place.
I think we did the math at camp, and it was 32 or 36 years since he's been back.
Yeah, from that date, from the day they shot the film, Well, compared to, it's a lot better than 2003. I wouldn't say it's better than 83, because 83 I could still recognize it for what it was, because all the new trees weren't that big. Yeah, and all the most of the original ones in the film were still here. Yeah, it was easy to recognize them. Even the log in 352 was still here, but it looked like it was buried, like only the top of it showed above the ground.
With Thomas present and the expedition underway, Tate, Brent, Thomas, and Glenn try their luck tonight with the first evening investigation of the expedition to try to elicit any sort of interaction from whatever may be lurking within the forest of Bluff Creek.
So where are we?
This is the Cedar Camp Road. I think it's 12 and 12, I believe. And right down that way, and you make just a few hundred feet, you turn right, and that takes you to Louse Camp and the film site and all that. So, I mean, this whole place is pretty epic, man.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back.
Whoop! It's quiet. You know, it's like, that's always like when you arrive to a place or when you're actually getting in the car to leave is when you get something.
Just listen. Nothing.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
That's the name of the game, right? Most of the time. It's nothing.
So quiet, my ears are buzzing.
Unfortunately, it was a silent night for the team's effort during their investigation. Just because the night was still, it doesn't mean that there isn't Sasquatch within the Bluff Creek area. This area is rich in Bigfoot history. From the late 50s to mid-60s was the height of the Bigfoot phenomenon within California. It was here in 1958 that Jerry Crew casted the first tracks of a large humanoid-shaped foot, which eventually coined the name Bigfoot. In 1964, there was a flood which caused major damage to Bluff Creek, giving us the open sandbar that you see in the famous Patterson-Gimlin film. 3 years later, on October 20th, 1967, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin filmed what is believed to be a female Sasquatch alongside a creek bed in Bluff Creek.
Like the Onion Mountain tracks, the Blue Creek Mountain tracks. Bill Miller put out an excellent article where he took the Wallace castings and compared them to the castings of the tracks. They don't even match, at least in most cases. I think Wallace played a lot of jokes around, but I don't think he was playing too many jokes here in 58, 57, 58, because this was his job. He had schedules to keep. He had people to pay. You know, why would he disrupt his own work? I have no idea.
Do you think the Blue Creek Mountains were an act of Wallace?
No, personally I don't, but I won't say definitely because I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I don't think so. Because the old story of a pickup truck with a 2x4 strapped to it and going down. He would still slap. Those tracks look smooth. There's no impact crater at all, no outsplash, nothing that I can see in the old photographs of John Green's. They look smooth, and not all of them were on the roadside, just the ones that were photographed on the roadside. They were seen going off the road into the bush and things like that, and coming out of the bush. Tracks of two individuals, and Patty's tracks wasn't one of them. You know, so who knows?
There were 3 sets, according to the...
Well, according to what I heard, one set of tracks at the Blue Creek Mountain were 15 inches long, the other ones were 13 inches long, yeah. And the Onion Mountain ones before were 15 inch long, yeah. So.
Those were all in the same summer?
A little earlier. Matter of fact, they had gone home from the Onion Mountain when they got the phone call to say, more stuff's been found in Blue Creek Mountain. And that's how Roger and Bob ended up coming up here, because they spent weeks in the Cougar region of Washington looking around. And John Green left a message with Patricia saying something's happening down at Bluff Creek in California. And he wanted to come down to hopefully get some footage of footprints for his homemade documentary. Probably never dreaming they'd actually see the damn thing in flesh and blood. And of course, October 20th, 1967, that's what happened.
Patty was standing across the creek, and Roger and I rode up the other side of that. She was standing on the opposite side of the creek from us. And so when we come around that bend, Roger was in front of me, and of course his horse started jumping around, and my horse started jumping around, and Roger eventually got off his horse, grabbed a camera out of the right-hand saddlebag, and then started across the creek running with the camera up. Then the bank went up just a slight bit, and Roger kind of stuck his toe in there and fell down on his elbows. And then he got back up and went over to a tree that was down, not too big around, and the sand had covered it up fairly well, but he stabilized his arms on that. And that's when you see the stabilized part of the film footage. And then she kept right on walking like that. I was still sitting on the other side of the creek, sitting on my horse holding him. And Roger ended up about at this angle here and said, "Bob, would you cover me?" So I rode across the creek, stepped down off the horse, and that's when that famous turn of the head was about right down in there.
We were about, I guess 3 miles, something like that, from our main camp. We had rounded a bend in the trail. The creek was coming down this canyon, and the wind was blowing down the canyon. So that I think this is probably the reason that we come upon this thing without us knowing we were coming. The first thing I knew, my horse stopped, and I caught something out of the corner of my eye, and then my horse kind of jumped backwards and reared with me. And as he did so, I pulled on him, and I pulled a little bit too hard, and we both went to the ground. I was able to get up and get a hold of him and get in my saddlebags and get my camera out, and I turned him loose, yelled to Bob to cover me. It was standing by the edge of the creek. It turned and walked up the bank and then turned around again and looked directly at us before it got up to the top of this bank. And so then I started taking pictures of the thing because it didn't appear to be aggressive. It was going the other direction, or pretty much of a direction away from us. And I ran some of the way and had to run down through the creek up on the other side of the bank, and that's when I got the best pictures of the thing.
What Roger and Bob filmed sparked decades of debates regarding the film's authenticity. It sparked the interest of many people involved in the Bigfoot subject today. It gets people's attention and draws them to the Six Rivers National Forest. To the team of investigators, the PG film is important to them, and tonight, Tate, Glenn, Jonathan, Terry, and Damon post up on the road at Lair Meadow in hopes of a possible interaction with a Sasquatch.
We are at Lair Meadow, and we are going to be camping, hoping to hear something or find something. or see something.
We're on the road. We're like, Lair and Meadow's right there behind you. I'm on the other side of the road right over here. We're just on this road just trying to see if we can hear anything.
That's right. We're right between both.
And we've had some stuff happen in the past with Alex and Eli, Jonathan and I, and you guys.
Yes.
On several different trips to this place in different years. So, fingers crossed.
Absolutely.
We came up with Sean and Shereen and gave them the tour, and we briefly walked through the field and kind of showed them the back boxes, some of the odd little twisty trees that are over there, and then back on this side over here, a lot of evidence of bedded down deer. It looks like deer anyway. Trails running through, people laying, smashing down the grass. The tree where I found that hair and those other hairs on is actually broken in half now. It's I'm seeing the whole top half of it. Don't know how it broke off, but it was just laying off to the side. You can see it. So there's definitely a lot of like game animals like that around here right now.
So a lot of tracks.
As to whether or not they're here now, but
yeah,
at least they were. Man, as flat as that stuff, as recent as stuff looked, I'm pretty sure it was like that night. A lot of stuff.
The creek at the film site looked lower, so
yeah.
You said looks a lot drier too, huh?
It's a little drier, yeah.
I guess.
And yeah, a lot of fresh just game laying down in the grass. There's one track I thought was really interesting. It looked like something was running, like it ran, changed direction 90 degrees, went this way, changed direction again, like a triangle back this way, and then went that direction. I don't know if it was being chased or just goofing around or what, but huge pile of bear scat in there too. And then the tree where I found the hair and the other hairs on that thing is broken off about halfway down.
You know what was crazy? I keep thinking about that 2021 trip. Because I remember being in the Meadow, like you, me, and Alex, and Eli, and we were getting frustrated with everybody on the road because we thought you guys were like doing calls and everything. You guys
slamming doors too.
You guys were like, that's not us.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
We thought they were like slamming the car doors. That's what we heard, clear as day, like super clear in the same distance. And we were like, I remember without knowing what Eli and Alex were saying, we were on the other side of the meadow. Me and Eli were like, why are they slamming the car doors? We're like, I don't know. Why are they doing that? I was like, I don't know. They're really loud. And then Alex talks to them and they're like, we're like a mile up the road.
Yeah.
That was a good crowd.
It's us down there. Right. It's a couple critters, looks like.
Deer, bear. Is that the Meadow?
Yep.
I saw it last week. Oh, what? Yeah, that's what he told me. I was up with the food.
think those are deer. Trying to find the field. Like the actual meadow, you know. Alright, there's the road. Oh, it's right here.
Yeah, there it is. That's the bigger one.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's nothing in it right now. We're just gonna do a couple knocks using this purple jam block.
Okay.
Maybe in a few we'll do a vocalization call.
You can see so far.
Yet again, another quiet night for the team's night investigation at Lair Meadow. Even though Tate and company haven't had much luck in the way of Bigfoot activity, they have been enjoying time with like-minded friends who also venture to this region for their chance at an encounter. Some individuals who venture out to Bluff Creek seem to be at the right place at the right time and end up having a weird experience for themselves. And for Robert Leiderman and Jamie Wayne of the Bluff Creek Project, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I want to say it was kind of in the fall, because we were just Jamie and I were set up right at the berm, 12 and 13H, go down about 2 miles, and then the berm. They created that about 2010-ish. So we parked there, we're camping there, because we're going down to the film site because we're still checking cameras, still working different projects. So we're pretty much sitting there, and I decided to play my flute. So that typical flute, and what I like to do sometimes is I'll sit there and we're right up on the canyon edge, so I just blow it really, really loud, kind of just like a, and it echoes pretty good. So while I was doing that, Jamie had his recorder going on his vehicle, and he was just down from where I was parked. When I was playing, I was going up the scale, just doing my usual thing, and Jamie goes, "Hey, hold it, stop. I go, "What?" He goes, "I heard something. You know, it sounded like flute down there." I go, "What?" I go, "Sure, not an echo?" "No." So I walked over to where he was, and it's like And I'm standing there listening, and he's got the recorder going, and I don't hear anything, right? So I take my flute and I blow it again, and then I can hear it. It goes down and kind of echoes a little bit, and it's just standing there. And then we hear this, almost like a flute sound coming back, and it's coming down way down the bottom of the hill. From there, right at the berm, it's probably about maybe 400 feet down to the water, and it's pretty steep. And it was weird because I haven't heard the birds sound like that ever, and we both heard it, and it was recorded on his digital recorder. And when we played it back, it does sound like flute. But you know how you hear sounds by your ear, and then you play them back, and they can sound kind of different. But yeah, it sounded like a flute. It only did that one time. It didn't do it again. Because we tried to, you hear it, you listen, then you try to get it to do it again. So we played it back, nothing. But that was that one-time deal.
What was mimicking Robert's flute that night? Without seeing what did it, it will remain a mystery. And for the final night of the expedition to Bluff Creek, Tate, Glenn, and Ian will make their way toward the berm, where Robert and Jamie had their strange encounter.
Tonight we're going to be, we're going to be in the vicinity of the Patterson film site, but upslope. We're going to be in at least 2 locations and listening for activity along the sides of the canyon.
Glenn and I have made it to the berm. We're setting up camp. It's him and I here, and then up at the cell site it's Ian and Terry, but we're hanging down here to see what we get. Robert and Jamie had this really interesting audio that they caught here. It was like Robert was playing his flute and something was mimicking the flute playing, so it was pretty weird. So we're here at the berm and we're gonna hang out and see what we get. I have my phone recording audio. It's just the only audio recorder that I have, so we'll see what happens. I'm gonna try a couple wood knocks to see if we can get any responses here while we're at the berm for tonight. You ready?
Ready.
pretty quiet here tonight. Not getting too much. Did some knocks, did some howls. Just a quiet night. What's your opinion, Glenn?
Yeah, pretty quiet. Haven't heard anything. But we'll see. We're gonna lay down now, and we're both camping in our trucks, so we'll see what happens. Got audio going.
Should be an interesting night, but so far quiet. So I'm guessing nothing's gonna happen, but you know, that's kind of been the theme of the last 4 years coming out here. Been dead, so we'll report back in the morning and let you know if anything happened. It's officially morning. It is 9:52 a.m. Quiet night. Nothing happened. So I'm packing up and then headed for Washington. Well, I'm going to be stopping in Oregon first, then head up to Washington. So, yep. Bluff Creek strikes out again. Until next year, I guess.
Disappointment is common while researching Bigfoot, and with the team's final night investigation, it was yet again a still and silent night. But nonetheless, Bluff Creek is just one valley of a plethora of valleys. If these creatures do exist, they could be hanging out in any number of these valleys. But it begs the question, why does the Bluff Creek region seem dead with activity? It has the right ingredients to support an animal like Sasquatch. This question is certainly on Tate's mind, and it's something to research further as the search for Sabe continues.
And meet some friends by the firelight. Down at old Laos camp, you might see familiar faces and shadows dancing about. Down at old Laos camp, Renee, John, Tom, Roger, and Bob, memories of others that had no doubt. California, there is a place far, far away up there, the land the Indians and Sasquatch share. Standing on a lonesome ridge, wind is blowing cold as a fridge. Hear water running down at the creek, I'll take notice, be staying a week. Down at old Laos camp, you might see familiar faces and shadows dancing about. Down at old Laos camp, Renee, John, Tom, Roger, and Bob, and memories of others that had